Yo, check. We are live on the interwebs. Let's go. Appears to be. Let's drop that hair. Sweet. Let me know if the sound is coming through a little weird. Sounds good on my side though. Worked on the setup quite a bit. So sweet. Welcome on a sunny Sunday here. I'm in Austin. I'm in the basement that is Plebdevs, and we're gonna get into some Bitcoin Core basics, some beginner, I guess, scripting here, and kind of a beginner setup that you can get started with to take you further into developing on and with Bitcoin Core. Specifically from an app perspective, right? This isn't gonna be anything about Bitcoin protocol or literally changing Bitcoin Core. We're gonna be utilizing Bitcoin Core as our essentially backend, as a server that we can use to build apps with, or just start to experiment in such a way to help you if you were trying to build a wallet, for example. Maybe you're trying to build a wallet that sits right on top of Bitcoin Core. How are you going to interact with it? What is that program going to look like? So this will be just a starter for you on that kind of journey. I know for me, it actually took a weirdly long time before I started talking to my Bitcoin Core node with my code, right? And that's really the goal of this workshop, is that I'm going to show you very simply how to set up an interface to interact with the Bitcoin Core API. And give you full control over it in your programs. So sweet. So I will show first and foremost the links to the slides and / the completed project. So you can go to this tinyurl.com/plebdevs Bitcoin Workshop, and this will take you to the slides. The slides I have right here. The reason you want to be on these slides is because these slides have the code. Though if you don't have access to them, the completed code, the completed project is here on my GitHub, Austin Kelsey, and it's called Bitcoin NodeJS Starter. So that's where you find the slides. I'm probably gonna jump back to this slide to show as people are joining along in the middle, but this is how you will follow along. All right, do I wanna give any more preamble? I kinda will. I'll tell you, if you don't know about Plebdevs, you can go to plebdevs.com. This is kind of what I've been doing, is setting up this developer community, this education community. It's very simple right now, but we have 2 courses, Lightning Wallet Frontend and Lightning Wallet Backend. You can learn to write your very first code with the Lightning Wallet Frontend course and kind of get you started with front-end basics, build a Lightning Wallet, and then the backend course picks up on that and will take you from front-end dev to a full-stack dev, building a full-stack Lightning Wallet. And we also have tons of workshops here. This is one of those workshops. They all end up on our YouTube for free. And then, of course, the Plebdevs community is here on Discord, so you can join to hang out with the other Plebdevs and get some one-on-one help from me as well. Cool. So let's get into it, I suppose. So if you have the slides pulled up or the completed project, you should be good to continue. So let's get into it. First typo. So this is going to be our overview. What is Bitcoin Core? We're going to talk about what is regtest and kind of the Bitcoin networks. We're going to touch on the Bitcoin Core RPC interface, and we're going to kind of look at it ourselves, because this RPC interface, this is going to be our main interface that we interact with Bitcoin Core with. We're going to talk about the different kinds of Bitcoin wallets: legacy, HD, and descriptor. We're going to keep this very high level, but it'll be some good context if you don't really know how to think about this yet. And that will kind of complete, I guess, our theory section. We're going to have a little bit of theory here before we get into practice. And then we're going to start in the practice by installing Bitcoin Core. I'm going to show you how to verify it. We're going to set it up in regtest, and then we're going to build our simple Bitcoin Node.js starter and try it on testnet. Actually, probably not this time. I should take that out. You should try it on testnet, but I'm not going to today. Maybe on Signet, which we'll talk about. we'll cover what Signet is. Okay, so let's get into it. So off the top, what is Bitcoin Core? So Bitcoin Core is the one and only original software implementation of the Bitcoin protocol. It serves as the reference client in the Bitcoin network, which means it defines the standard of what is considered a valid transaction or a block in the Bitcoin blockchain. Bitcoin Core includes a full node software capable of fully validating all the transactions and blocks. It also includes a Bitcoin wallet, allowing users to store, send, and receive Bitcoins. Cool. So Bitcoin Core, it is our go-to reference. It is our, it is our Bible that we have here, that we consider this to be the truth that we reference and that we utilize. So when you're building a Bitcoin app, if you can build a Bitcoin app just right on top of Bitcoin Core, that is an ideal thing. You might need to have an Electrum server, you might need to have some of these other pieces for your Bitcoin app, but anything that's just running directly on top of Bitcoin Core and it's using Bitcoin Core's interface, it's something that you can just trust more, because this interface is much more tried and true, and it is something that a lot of people have looked at and worked on and spent hours on. So what is the regtest network? So this is, you may have heard Bitcoin developers talk about regtest, testnet, signet, all these different networks. And so let's break them down. In short, I'll give you the summary right here at the bottom. In short, mainnet is global and real. Testnet is global and fake. Regtest is local and fake. And then Signet is just another global and fake network. So obviously mainnet, that is the main Bitcoin network. You are spending real money. There is proof of work required to mine blocks. It's the Bitcoin we know and love. Testnet is the alternative Bitcoin blockchain used for testing. So testnet is global and fake. So lots of people in Bitcoin, they run testnet nodes, they run testnet miners, but it's all fake. You can have testnet coins, and those coins are, I guess, scarce in the way that a Bitcoin fork would be scarce or something like that. But it's essentially just a global testing network for Bitcoin. Now, regtest is personally my favorite. Regtest, this is the local testing environment where developers can control block generation and create an almost instant private blockchain for testing purposes. So with regtest and regtest world, we are spinning up Bitcoin from block 0, from the Genesis block, every single time we run it fresh. So we have our own fresh Bitcoin network. We are in isolation. And why are we doing that? We're doing it to test. We're doing it to test a ton of possible edge cases and do things that we could not do on mainnet, things we could not do on testnet, in order to kind of develop a lot quicker. And so, I use regtest in a number of my workshops. You can actually use a regtest Bitcoin Core node, and you can run a regtest Lightning node on top of it. So a program I use in some of my other workshops is called Polar. And Polar lets you simulate a whole Lightning network, all running on top of one regtest Bitcoin Core node. So it's pretty cool. Regtest is powerful. It's our local Bitcoin development environment that we can use for building examples and to learn and to develop. And that's what we'll be doing today. So that is regtest versus testnet versus signet. I guess I didn't touch on signet very much. Signet is like testnet, but with a twist. It's a test network that uses signed blocks, which means it has more reliable block times compared to testnet. So Mutiny runs a signet. You may have heard of Mutiny Signet. It's probably the most popular. But just the reason of that is to have this global fake network like testnet. But testnet requires proof of work, and so the blocks can come in really inconsistently, sometimes an hour in between blocks. So Signet just makes that a lot quicker by, instead of requiring proof of work, it just has you sign each block. Just kind of a shortcut to keep the blocks flowing and to make it to where we have an easy test network that's global to work with that will move fast. Okay, cool. So Bitcoin RPC interface. So the RPC interface, it's a set of commands used by Bitcoin Core for programmatic access to Bitcoin's functionalities. It allows users and developers to interact with the Bitcoin network, manage wallets, create transactions, and query blockchain data. These commands are sent over HTTPS, enabling automation and integration of Bitcoin operations into applications, mostly what we're trying to do here, and then access is secured with the username and a password. Cool. So RPC, it's just our interface into Bitcoin Core. All of the functionality in Bitcoin Core can be called from the RPC interface, or virtually all of it. Maybe there's some test features that don't have RPC commands yet, or some features that are still being staged or something like that. But for the most part, everything you need to do on Bitcoin can be done through the RPC interface. And since it has this or it's mostly communicated with HTTPS, you know, almost any application we can pretty easily build on top of it. If you don't know what RPC is just a lower level kind of communication protocol used between machines usually. Bitcoin and Lightning uses RPC interfaces, but you know, that's just the internal interface inside of our Bitcoin Core node. We're actually going to be using HTTPS to communicate with our Bitcoin Core node. And so we'll see that as we get started on our code here in a minute. Cool. So now the different kinds of Bitcoin wallets. This is going to be our last little bit of theory before we get into our practical project here. So this is something that I didn't have to touch on this in this presentation, but I decided to because it's something that came up very early as I started to you know, interact with Bitcoin Core and started to try automating things. Which is like, what kind of wallet are we using? What kind of a wallet are we using? And this can change how you're building your scripts, and how you're considering how to handle the logic around these wallets. So let me walk through this, and this will make a little bit more sense. So starting off, we have what we call legacy wallets. I don't know if that's like a wrong term for it, legacy wallets, but that's what seems to be what other people use. So these are the original Bitcoin wallets. They use addresses starting with 1. So we can see there's some example legacy addresses here. They rely on the pay-to-public key hash format. Legacy wallets do not inherently support hierarchical deterministic features, meaning each key is independently generated, necessitating backups after each transaction. Okay, what the heck does that mean? So this basically means that with legacy wallets, we kind of just have this this public key and this private key raw, and we're able to generate addresses that are valid addresses that we can receive to, just like with a Bitcoin wallet, right? So it seems pretty simple. The big difference with legacy wallets is those addresses, when they're generated, they are generated randomly. Meaning there's no tie in between address number 1 that I generated and address number 2. And so maybe, so basically this causes the problem of you need to keep all of your addresses. If you generate an address and you lose it, then you can't really go claim that Bitcoin. You need to know that address. And you know, the space of potential addresses that you can generate off of a single key pair is nearly infinitesimal. So when you, sorry, nearly infinite is what I meant to say, not infinitesimal. That would mean small. It's a very large space. So if you generate an address and you send Bitcoin to it and you lose that address, yeah, you have the private key to it, but you don't have the address, so you can lose those funds. So that's the main issue with legacy wallets. And this is where the concept of hierarchical deterministic wallets came into play. You may hear this term around Bitcoin a lot, HD wallets. This is introduced with BIP32. And it basically generates, so HD wallets generate all coin addresses and private keys from a single seed following a hierarchical structure. This allows for easier backup and restoration as all keys can be generated from the initial seed. HD wallets use addresses starting with 3 or BC1 for segue. So we see our HD wallet structure here. It's a tree. At the top level, we have the seed, and then the master extended public key. And basically, from this tree, in order, in this hierarchical deterministic order, I know they're big words, but basically just climbing down the tree in order, we're going to generate addresses in that exact order. Okay, so this means if I have a wallet over here, I have wallet number 1, and maybe I generate 10 addresses. Oh wow, thumbs up emoji. Maybe I generate 10 addresses. If I then export that wallet and import it into a new wallet software, well, my new wallet software will be able to pick up from where I left off because of this hierarchical structure, essentially. So that's the HD wallet scheme. And then finally, the latest and greatest is descriptor wallets. So a more recent development, descriptor wallets use an expressive language to describe how Bitcoin addresses are derived. This approach allows more flexibility and compatibility with various types of wallets, including multi-sig setups, by clearly specifying the script used for address generation. Descriptors enhance wallet portability and interoperability across different software and services. Okay, so descriptors, they absolutely solve this problem, because with the HD wallet, I have this hierarchical structure, which is nice, but I can still lose my place in that structure as I'm moving that wallet across different software wallets. With descriptors, this is like a description, a encoded description of here's where the next address will be, here is the path you go down the tree, and it is more explicit. So those, just at a very high level, very basic level, those are kind of the 3 kinds of Bitcoin wallets. And you sort of see the arc of their development and the improvements. Where with descriptors, if we handle them correctly, we essentially will never lose our place of where the next address will be generated, and we'll never lose any of our past addresses. So that is good. Okay, and I should mention, we're going to be making, I believe, a single HD wallet and a single descriptor wallet in our little script that we're going to write here. All right, let's start with installing Bitcoin Core. We're going to install Bitcoin Core and then verify it. So you can find Bitcoin Core at bitcoincore.org/en/download. And alternatively, you can get it from the Bitcoin Core GitHub, which is github.com/bitcoin/bitcoin. Cool, so this is what bitcoincore.org looks like /download. So you can click download here and get the latest version. I already have it downloaded, so I'm good on my side. And it should just take a minute to get that zip file. So next, we're going to go through the steps of verifying the Bitcoin Core install. This is something that confuses a lot of people. They get confused in this process, but essentially what we want to do here, we want to verify our Bitcoin Core install or our download. And so this is crucial to ensure that the file is authentic and has not been tampered with. This process involves checking the digital signatures and comparing the file's checksum with the ones provided by the developers. So I know maybe that you're not installing this Bitcoin Core to use with your personal funds, but this is just a good practice, and this is something I wanted to highlight, is how to verify this. So in summary, what we're going to do to verify the Bitcoin Core install is we're going to download the sums, SHA-256 sums. This is basically the checksum of the release. So the code that is in the release produces this unique checksum. And then all of the Bitcoin Core developers, they all have PGP keys, and they all sign with this checksum. So we get multiple people to authenticate for us. So essentially this process is, we're going to download the sums that are in this new release. We're going to download GPG, which is a PGP tool. We're going to import all of the Bitcoin Core's signers keys. And then we're going to verify our sums with all the Bitcoin Core's signers keys. Okay, so this will take real quick. So let's start to go through with it. So download SHA-256 sums. We're going to want to download actually both the SHA-256 binary hashes and hash signatures right here on bitcoincore.org. Right, so it's just these 2 links. So I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to do this one, and they both will say SHA-256 sums. Cool. And next, you're going to download GPG. So you can find this at gpgtools.org. And this can be, I guess, kind of the easy way to download it. Or alternatively, you can just do it in your terminal, brew install GNU-PG, or npx install sudo apt-get. And then One of those should work. And you can check, I'll go ahead and open up my terminal here. We'll zoom in. You can check if you have GPG installed by doing GPG dash version. Sweet. And since it tells me the version, I know it's successfully installed on my machine already. So we now have the hashes and we have GPG. So now we need to get the Bitcoin Core signers keys. So you're gonna need to run these two commands to do this. But real quick, if you are just joining along, you need access to these slides because it's probably gonna be hard to copy this command. So you can find the slides that I'm on and copy all of the code off of here on tinyurl.com/plebdevs-bitcoin-workshop. And then of course, once again, the final project is here, Austin Kelsey on GitHub. So get to those slides if you need them. Okay, back to importing the Bitcoin Core signers key. So you're gonna wanna copy these two commands. What these are gonna do is this first one is cloning from GitHub rather. It's cloning all of the Bitcoin Core signers keys. Now we trust that these are the legit signers keys because these are from Bitcoin Core. There, you can go down further rabbit holes of trust on PGP, but we're just going to keep it level 1 here today. We're just going to pull in the signers keys and we're going to import them into our, what do you call it, keyring on GPG. So they'll basically just be saved, so then we can continually verify all the new releases because we'll have all the Bitcoin Core signers keys locally. So I've already done this. So I'm not going to run these commands actually, but I can show you kind of what it will look like. Since I've already done this, it should, oh, this would be in CD downloads. Yeah, there we go. So it says processed 28, unchanged 28. That's just because I already had these signatures. But yeah, these are a bunch of Bitcoin Core developers, Andrew Chow, Ben Carmen, Michael Ford. So all of their key pairs are here and they're gonna help us verify. Cool. So now we wanna verify the SHA-256 sums using GPG. So you wanna navigate to where you installed Bitcoin Core. It's probably gonna be downloads and also where you installed the hashes. And you simply run this command in your terminal, gpg-verify the SHA-256 sums.asc. So let's try that. I'm already here in my downloads. So gpg-verify SHA-256 sums.asc. Okay, cool. So I'm seeing a bunch of stuff here. What does this mean? Well, I'll point out first and foremost, if you're seeing these, good signature from Andrew Chow, good signature from Michael Ford, good signature from Hennady Stepanov. So if you're seeing these, that means, okay, our signature was good, but we're getting these warnings. What are these warnings? So it's okay if you're seeing those warnings. So is it verified? These warnings are basically alluding to what I was talking about earlier. We know that the signatures are valid, but do we know that the keys came from the people we think it came from? Now we pulled these keys from the Bitcoin Core repo, so we're basically choosing to trust. But GPG is just letting us know, like, hey, the signatures are valid, but are you sure these are from the people that they're saying they are? This is where you can go down the paranoid rabbit hole of using something called a chain of trust, where we basically have all the signers kind of verify each other. But for right now, we're gonna take it as legit because we pulled these keys from Bitcoin Core. All the signatures are good, so nothing looks strange. So yeah, we've just verified our Bitcoin Core install. Very cool. So from here, you would be able to, you know, find your Bitcoin zip file and open it up and kind of finish the install. And then you should end up with a little Bitcoin Core, ooh, get out of the way, that looks like that. Sweet, all right. So we have now gone through a little bit of the theory section. We've installed Bitcoin Core and we've verified it. The next step that we're going to do is open it up, and we're going to need to change the configuration file. It's going to be our first step. So setting up Bitcoin Core in regtest. So you need to find the location where Bitcoin is installed and open the app. You're going to want to open up preferences and check enable RPC server. And then open up preferences, open configuration file, add config, and then we're going to add the below config. So let me walk through this with you. I'll open up Bitcoin Core. Now, it's important to know that my Bitcoin Core is already in regtest here because I've already done this. And it's blue. When your Bitcoin Core opens, it will be orange and it will be in mainnet by default. So when it first opens, it's going to start downloading the real Bitcoin blockchain. That's fine. But we're just going to want to very quickly go through these steps, like I said. So if you're opening it up for the first time, go to up here, preferences, and enable RPC server. I already have this checked. And then you would open configuration file right here. Yep, continue. And we can see my configuration file is already filled out here. I've got server 1, so this means that the server is enabled. I've got regtest 1, this means that we are on regtest. And then I have an RPC user and RPC password. Okay, can I zoom in? Yeah. And so you can make these whatever you want. I'm just going to call them plebdev and pass because it's just kind of for development. So this is what you'll want to have inside of your bitcoin.conf. At that point, you will save it. And then you can close it. And you'll want to actually close Bitcoin Core. Completely close it out, quit. And when you open it back up, it should be in regtest. You'll see this regtest message at the very top, and the icon will also be blue. And so, yeah, Bitcoin Core should now start up in regtest. You'll be able to tell if the main icon is blue, and it should say regtest in the top. Very cool. Okay, now we're actually going to start to create our Node.js app. So we've installed Bitcoin Core, we've verified it, we have now set it up to run on regtest and to enable its server. So we're good to start development. You know, we spent our time getting up to here, explaining everything, but now that you know how to do this, I mean, you can get this developer environment set up in like a minute. Sweet. So let's set up our new app. So I'm going to clear this out. Go back to, let's go to my desktop. Okay, I'm gonna make a new directory, Bitcoin Node.js starter. I didn't put this in the same kind of casing accidentally. Let me fix this. Make directory. Cool. Okay, make directory Bitcoin Node.js starter. Let's cd into it. All right, we're now inside of it. So we're gonna do npm init-y. This will initialize just kind of a default new node project. Cool, and now we can npm I Bitcoin Core. Now Bitcoin dash core. Now this is just a library that is going to make it slightly easier to interact with our Bitcoin Core node locally. So if I go to Bitcoin Core npm, you can see it right here. It's a relatively popular library. A modern Bitcoin Core REST and RPC client to execute administrative tasks. Yeah, so it's basically just a library that wraps our RPC interface and is just going to let us easily interact with Bitcoin Core using Node.js. Cool, so I just installed that, and interesting. I did get some slightly concerning errors. Access denied. Oh, that's weird. Do I need to run sudo? If it's telling me access denied, maybe I need to run sudo. Okay, that was kind of weird. Maybe just because it was in my desktop. Give it another second here. Yeah, sometimes if you get errors like this, can be permissions. Sometimes it can be you're on the wrong node version. But I should be good. Did I spell it right? npmi Bitcoin Core. I did. Yeah, it's just being a little bit slow here. But let me go ahead and pull this code open on VS Code. And if node modules is here, we should probably be good. Okay, yeah, we see it's here. Yes, I trust the authors. Okay, now let's do touch index.js to create an index.js file and touch.getIgnore to create .getIgnore. I'll actually just do this in my UI, index.js, new file, .getIgnore, and this will just, getIgnore is just for when you push this up, we want to ignore node modules. And index.js is where we'll be writing all of our code. So let's see. Let's get rid of node modules here and let's try to reinstall our thing again. PMI Bitcoin dash core. If this doesn't work, I also have the completed code over here that runs, so I can just pull it over. Okay, there we go. I don't know why that took so long. So we see Bitcoin Core 4.1.0 is what I'm on. Okay, that should work. So now your file structure should kind of look like this. I don't think we have a README though. That's fine, we don't need a README. Okay, now let's create the first bit of our code to connect to the Bitcoin Core client. Sweet, so I can copy this here and we'll put this right at the top of our index.js file. Is my Bitcoin Core running? It is, okay. Sweet, so let's zoom in. There we go. All right, so first and foremost, we're importing the library and we're calling it client. And since it's Node.js, we're using the require import. And we now configure our Bitcoin Core client connection. So this is gonna be our top level client. We pass in what network it is, username and password that we set in our bitcoin.conf. And then we have our port 18443. So this is the default regtest port. If we're on testnet, this port will be different. If we're on mainnet, the port will be different as well. So you can just like Google to see what the default ports are, but this is the default regtest port, so we're good. So at that point, we have our client, we're connected to Bitcoin Core, so we should be able to just add a single command and call it to test, get blockchain info. And we're gonna console log that, and then if there's an error, we'll see if there's an error. So should we try this out? I think so. So I can run node index.js on my terminal, and that will run this file. Let's see what we get. Okay, so I get this object back. It looks like our command ran successfully, get blockchain info. It says we're 107 blocks in, 107 headers. Tells us the difficulty. Yeah, I mean, it works. We just sent a command to Bitcoin Core. So that's pretty nice. So let's go to the next slide here. So test client connection with a single command. We ran this in our terminal. Ooh, my formatting is broke. There we go. And we saw this output. So this was running our single get blockchain info command. And if this runs successfully, you can comment this out or delete it. I'm just gonna delete it. We just wanted to make sure that we were successfully connected, and we are. So let's move onward. So next we're gonna create a build a create wallet function. And okay, let's copy this code and then I'll walk through it real slow for you. And I'll say from a high level, like this script, we're basically gonna write a script that will fund two different wallets. And I'm sorry, it will create two different wallets. It will fund one of those wallets, Bob, and then we'll have that Bob wallet pay Alice. Okay, so that's kind of our basic script that we're gonna run to. You could think of it as like a basic setup script of like creating two example users' wallets and funding them. So you can imagine having this be a startup script that gets your development environment ready for you to come in and do something a little more involved, perhaps. But okay, let's walk through this create wallet function. Once again, I will jump back over here and mention that you can get all the code here, either from the slides or from the completed project. The completed project's on my GitHub, Austin Kelsey, called Bitcoin Node.js Starter. And the slides are at Plebdevs Bitcoin Workshop on tinyurl.com. Okay, back to the code. Let's walk through this. So create a wallet in the Bitcoin Core client. This function is going to have two arguments. We're just going to have the name of the wallet, and we're going to have is descriptor wallet. Remember, we talked about the different kinds of wallets. So we are going to create one wallet that is an HD wallet, a hierarchical deterministic, and then one that is a descriptor wallet. Just for you to have the two different examples to play around with and look at the differences of. So those are the parameters. We go into create wallet, passing in wallet name and is descriptor wallet. And then we have this create wallet command. So this comes from the Bitcoin Core RPC. And you know what? Let's actually pause here and let's look a little bit closer into the Bitcoin Core RPC. If I open Bitcoin Core back up, in the top here, I can go to Window and Console. And this takes us into the Bitcoin console. And this has all the commands that we would be running like and creating with our code. They live in here as well. So like get blockchain info. Get blockchain info is right here. So I can run this and I get the same exact output I got before. I can also run, they have a help command here. So I can say help and it will tell me about literally every single command. And I can also say get blockchain info and then space help. And then it will give me a summary of everything that it returns. So that's very nice. It's just basically the API interface is built in here. And yeah, I mean, we can run any Bitcoin Core command. Like what is the one everyone wants to run? Get tx tx out set info. So get our UTXO set. We can do that and yeah, here we go. Sweet. So this is the interface we're interacting with. We're just doing it through our code instead of explicitly in the console here. So I just wanted to show you that. So when we say right here, we say await client.create wallet. This create wallet command, it's the same one that's in the Bitcoin Core RPC, right? And so I put here in the comment, the params for create wallet is wallet name, disable private keys, blank, passphrase, avoid reuse. This is one of the more complicated commands. I can actually, let's go back into Bitcoin Core. Window, console. I can say create wallet, help. Executing. It's taking a second. Okay. So it tells me there's all these different arguments and they're all positional from the first, second, third, fourth position. So it can be kind of confusing when you're using these commands for the first time. You kind of need to read through all of this, but I went ahead and did all that work for you. So all of these positional arguments are correct. We basically have create wallet. We pass in the wallet name first and foremost. We are not disabling private keys. We are not doing blank. We don't have a passphrase. Avoid reuse is set to false. And then for descriptors, we just pass in true to say it is a descriptor wallet. And then these last two positional arguments, we just don't need them at all. So we just can leave it like that. Okay, so that's the create wallet command. I know it's a lot of positional arguments, but I laid it out for you here. After we create the wallet, we just send out a log. And then we get the wallet name and we grab the wallet info from that wallet name and we console log that. Sweet. So that will be our function to create a wallet. From here, you can test it if you want to. I'm just going to keep on pushing along. So next, we're going to have a get wallet client function. It's another short one. We'll copy this over here and then we'll walk through it. Okay, so this is going to get a new Bitcoin Core client instance for a specific wallet. So what does that mean? So up here, we have our top level client instance. So this is just like our top level interface for talking to Bitcoin Core. But what this is going to do is this is going to give us an interface specifically for a particular wallet. And we need to do that to just call a few specific wallet actions next. So there's not much going on here. We just take in the wallet name. We return a new client with all of our arguments being exactly the same, except we have this added wallet argument that has a wallet name to it. Cool, so that is that. Okay, and now we are gonna create our main function, which is basically gonna run through all these steps, run through the script using our two functions. There's gonna be a part 1 and part 2 to this, and we're gonna just like stack these on top of each other just because they couldn't fit in the slide. So I'm gonna take this part 1, I'll paste it. I'm gonna take part 2 and paste it, and then we're gonna walk through. And I can actually format my document here to clean this up a little bit. Okay, sweet. So this is our top level script. It's called setup wallets and transfer. And so first of all, we specify the type of wallet that Bob and Alice are going to use. So we're going to have Bob, we're going to have Alice. And Alice, I actually want Alice to have false here because Alice is going to use an HD wallet. So we start off, are they going to be descriptor wallets or not? We then call create wallet with Bob wallet and Alice wallet. And then these two Boolean values. So now they have wallets. We then instantiate a new client for each wallet using our get wallet client function. So from this point, we have created two wallets, one descriptor and one HD, and we now have a client for each wallet. Cool. So now we will get a new address for Bob and mine blocks into it. So Bob's address equals await Bob client dot get new address. We will then console log Bob's address. And then we use this generate to address. So this will mine 101 regtest blocks, which we can just do arbitrarily for free instantly. And we need to do at least 100 blocks for Bob to have access to the first little bit of Bitcoin. And we will then console log that the blocks have been mined to Bob's address. And then after that, we check Bob's balance. Then we get a new address for Alice. We have to set a fee rate. And then we have Bob send to that address. We show the TX ID of that transaction. We mine blocks in order to confirm the transaction. And finally, we check Alice's balance. Right, so basically all we're doing here is we're creating two wallets. We're funding Bob's wallet through mining. And then we're having Bob pay Alice. And then we're checking both of their balances at the end. So there it is. Yes, we are doing the Bitcoin Core workshop right now. If you're just joining, we're most of the way through here, actually about to test our code. But you can find the slides and the completed project here. And then this video will be posted to the Plebdevs YouTube in a few days, so you can see the full thing. Sweet, so let's run our completed program. There's this is what all of the final code will be. I know you can't read any of this, but it's literally 84 lines of code. There's one thing we need to add here. We just need to call this setup wallets and transfer function. And do we need to await it? Yes, we do. Or wait, actually, no, I don't, because it's in the main file. Where to find this PPT, I don't know what that stands for, but you can find, yeah, the slides here, tinyurl.com/plebdevs-bitcoin-workshop. And then the completed project is on my GitHub here, Austin Kelsey, and it's called Bitcoin NodeJS Starter. Yeah, I know it's kind of hard when you're joining like right in the middle, because we had some theory that we were building up here, and then we set up, we downloaded Bitcoin Core and set it up for development. And then we are just writing some simple code here to get it running. Okay, so let's finally run all of this, and we should see Bob's and Alice's wallet being created. We should see Bob getting funded, and then Bob sending to Alice, and then we should see all the updated balances from that point. So let's do it. So node index.js, error wallet file, create database already exists. Oh, okay, so I have already done this before, so I have Bob and Alice wallets. So let me actually go and delete them. So I can create wallet, restore, open wallet, open Alice wallet. Looks like it'll be under regtest. Here we go. So under regtest, I see we got an Alice wallet and a Bob wallet. Let's just go ahead and delete these. I could have also just renamed them. I probably should have done that. That would have been easier. But fuck it, we go on, and you now know how to at least find where your wallet files are, and yeah. Okay, let's try that again. And this will take a minute to run, but we'll get to see it kind of run along the way. So let's see what happens. Okay, so wallet, Bob wallet was created as a descriptor wallet. We see the info here for Bob wallet. Alice wallet was created as an HD wallet. We see her information, and both of them are starting with a balance of 0. We then go down, we have Bob's address right here. Bob's address, so we're generating 101 blocks to Bob's address. Okay, mine to Bob's address. Now Bob's balance is 50 BTC. Yep, and then we went and we generated an Alice address. We created the transaction and console logged that TX ID, so this was paying Alice. And then we mined some blocks, and finally we checked Alice's balance, and it's 10 Bitcoin. Cool. It worked. So nice. Sorry, just looking at the comment here. Please give your courses for free to your top watchers of your live, please. Love from India. Yeah, man, I will gladly give you either of my courses for free. You should totally DM me on Twitter, on YouTube, or whatever, and I'll definitely give you a free code. I know that like $10 to $20 USD can be a lot in other places where it's harder to get access to USD and stuff like that. So definitely don't want to have to make everyone charge for the courses. But also know that if you go to github.com/pleb-devs and you look in repositories, all of the course material is actually open and free. So that doesn't come with the videos, like it's still paid on Udemy, but all of the material is open and free. And if you can't afford the course ever, just reach out to me. I will send you a free code. I promise. And yeah, thanks for supporting my content, man. But yeah, so our script, it ran through, it worked the first time. Basically, I mean, I had to clear out my wallets, but we now have a simple script here that you can use as an example to build off of. And, you know, I hope that you take this project and from here actually do something a little bit more with it, because this is pretty simple and bare bones. I wanted to keep it high level and just keep it as a starter project at first. But yeah, definitely give me feedback and let me know if you get stuck, if you have any ideas, if you're running through this workshop on your own. Drop your Twitter. Yeah, let me drop it in the comments here. So I'm just at Bitcoin Plebdev. Cool. So yeah, thanks for watching. That's basically it. So this is our starter project. I wanted to get our foot in the door and get something started, but I'd love to hear any ideas of what you all would love to see next with Bitcoin, with working on Bitcoin Core specifically. And we can go, you know, definitely a lot of different directions. There's a lot of data to parse and to look at in Bitcoin. There's a lot of things that you can automate, which is kind of what we're doing here, is like automating like this, you know, setting up a few wallets. You can take that pretty far. And then building UI. I mean, you can build a UI on top of all of this, and that can make for a really cool project. I mean, I'll tell you this, like if you're looking to stand out, if you're like early in your developer journey, you know, building an application on top of Bitcoin Core, that is a way to stand out. And it's surprisingly easy. It's a lot easier than people think it is. It's just the setting up of Bitcoin Core, the setting up of like the server and the client, and then taking the time to like understand, you know, all of these console commands in Bitcoin and how to use them. That takes a little bit of investment because we need to, you know, throw in our help command, you know, get address info, help, something like that. Or wait, is it help get address and node info? Yeah, there it is. So help first, and then that tells us how to use any of our commands. You know, so that always takes a little while, but it's good to get your foot in the door and know that you can interact with Bitcoin with your own code. So yeah, I encourage you to do that. But this was just my quick Sunday workshop. I'll be back streaming again on Tuesday. So catch me Tuesday evening. I'll be doing some live coding, a little bit more casual, a little less formatted. And yeah, let me know if you have any feedback for this, what you would like to see next, if you get stuck, anything like that. But thanks so much for watching, y'all. Until next time, cheers.